Hello students, this brief video is designed to assist you in completing the library activity that's part of the library sessions. This video will detail the purpose and guide you through the prompts in the activity. Firstly, you will be accessing the link for this activity from your Blackboard course announcement page. Depending on your section, you will be completing a different activity that is specific to either humanities, psychology, business, or STEM section. This video will be for students enrolled in the humanities section. The link to the activity will redirect you to a library form that you will complete and submit. The activity is being graded as a daily activity grade in your assignments, and you will have the Sunday, February 19th by midnight to complete and submit this activity. This activity is based off the content you completed in modules 1 and 2 and involves identifying a web source and retrieving information for the purposes of citing and incorporating within your writing. The first part of the activity has you identifying a source and then identifying content from that source that you must paraphrase or quote. The following section of the activity involves the construction of a citation for purposes in the works cited page, but also in-text citations. When accessing the activity, hit the begin button once you've actually opened the actual form link. You'll be prompted to enter your first and last name, your university email. I'm going to be putting myself here, but you will be putting your professor. And then I'm just going to put this as a test for a section, but you would be putting your section in there. I can make this INT test. Once you've entered your information, you're going to come down to using the website Project Gutenberg. This is the purpose section. These 4 points are highlighting what you're going to be doing in the activity. You can see that you're going to be using this site. You're going to be engaging in original citation creation. You'll be creating parenthetical and narrative in-text citations. And then you'll be used to think about how you're going to use this actual source within your own writing. So first come here to Project Gutenberg. That will get you started. Once you're at the Project Gutenberg page, come back to your activity. It says from the search and browse menu at the top of the page, click the book search menu. That's what we're going to do. Book search. Once you're on the next page, you're going to scroll down. Select most popular books and select a book of interest to you. In this example, I'm selecting Moby Dick or The Whale is my book. In this example, you're going to select, in this section, you're going to select a book that is of interest to you. So I'm going to select popular. Then I'm going to select Moby Dick or The Whale. Then I'm going to come back to my activity. Once I've done that, from the reading options page, select the first option to read this book online, HTML5, and then select the chapter that you are interested in. For the purpose of the example, Moby Dick, I am selecting chapter 1, Lumines. So first, select that option. Read this book online, HTML5. Then I'm going to scroll down and select chapter 1. Once I have that open, I'm going to come back to look at step 4. Read at least one paragraph from the chapter you selected. In my example, I have read the 7th paragraph of chapter 1, highlighted below. This is chapter 7. On the ebook here, it would be this one here. You can read more than one chapter if you like, but you must read a minimum of one chapter. Once you've read your chapter, you're going to come down to the next section, paraphrasing and quotations. In your own words, you're going to paraphrase what information is being conveyed in the paragraph you read from the book you selected. Don't just summarize the content. You want to discuss what your own thoughts what the paragraph stated. In this example, Melville expressed the passion of Ishmael and his love of the sea by highlighting his disdain of titles and responsibilities of offices. So what you're going to do is once you paraphrase your few sentences, you're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just put my entry, but you're going to be creating your original entry in this block. The same thing for a quotation. From the paragraph text you read, you're going to select one sentence that stood out to you and you're going to enter it in the field below, exactly what quotations around the sentence. Do not use a period at the end of the sentence, and you'll see why later. So for my example, I'm going to put the example in here. And then we're going to move on to the next section. What type of source is this? This should be easily identifiable from the source that we're in, and then we have a lot of information about the actual site. So we have Project Gutenberg. You should be able to identify what type of resource this is. It should be pretty easily. What is the author's last name? I'm just going to select any option here for this question. My author is Melville Herman. Make sure you capitalize. What is the name of the chapter I read? That was Lumines. And I read paragraph 7. Make sure you spell paragraph correctly. What is the title of the source? To find this, look at the exact title listed at the top of the page. So go back to your page. Here you have the top of the page. You have information up here. This is the title of my book. Make sure you're putting the full title of your book, not just the partial title. When was the release date of the book published online? Here you're looking for release date. You can see here is the release date, July 1st, 2001. I'm only going to enter the year. Then you should be able to name what the website is. Enter the DOI or the URL to the source if available. You do not need to include the HTTP prefix, so you're going to basically look for that site. The URL should typically be listed here, also in the headings, but if not, you can grab it from the address bar. So we're going to copy, paste, and then I'm going to remove the HTTP. In this section, you will be creating an original MLA 9 works citation from the components you listed in the previous section. So the purpose of this section was to create the components that you are going to be using in this actual section. You can see here that I have the format for part of an online book. This is what we're using for this actual works cited format from our chapter from an online book. And since we have only paragraphs and chapters, we're using these as sections of that book. So here you can see there's author, last name, first name, title of the book part, which is typically the chapter, the title of the book, publishing info if available, and page numbers. Title of the database or website where the book was found, URL or DOI. I've kind of given you an example of what that looks like. Note in this example, the URL is still showing as HTTP, so you might want to edit that to just www. And do your best to italicize. It's okay if it doesn't let you italicize in here, but if you are able to format it in a Word document and italicize it, that's preferential. But if you can't do it, that's okay. Then, once you've completed the reference list entry, you're going to come and create the in-text citations. Now, your in-text citations are going to be taken from the paraphrased content and the quoted content that you had from the paraphrasing and quotation sections above. You're going to be creating two different types of citations here. One is a parenthetical citation that includes your paraphrased content and your parentheses with the author's last name and chapter number at the end of the sentence. You'll see that this is the example that I have here from the paraphrased content that I had from this section. I'm going to go ahead and enter that here. The full. This should be very easy to follow if you follow the formatting in the examples. One thing that we want to make sure that you're doing is you're differentiating between your content and the example content. So you're going to be doing this with your content. The same thing with the quote. You'll notice that the quote is actually have your quotations marks, and that is why we didn't enter a period immediately at the end of the quotations, so that you could enter your parenthetical citation and then your period. Then you're going to move on to narrative citations. Your narrative citations are different in the sense of how you introduce the actual source. You'll notice that here you're now mentioning that the author states, or according to the author. And then you're including your paraphrase content. At the end, you're including the chapter number as the parentheses. So it's different in the sense that you're not including the author in the full parenthetical at the end. So you'll notice that this is an example of a paraphrase done using a narrative citation. I'm going to enter that here. Then you're going to do the same thing for your quotation. You're going to introduce it the same way. Melville states, according to Melville. You can change any type of different formatting there. You can say Melville said or Melville quoted. You can use whatever language so long as it's an action. Then you're going to include your quoted content here along with the chapter number. So I'm just going to copy and paste my example. Once you've done that, you have concluded the citations aspect of the assignments. You might want to go back and make sure that you've submitted all your information. It looks like I've gotten everything. Once you've confirmed that you have all your information, you're going to hit the review button. You'll get an action to say that you can review your responses. If you do want to change anything, you still have an opportunity to go back and change it. But up to this point, everything is correct. So if you want to hit back, you can go back and change anything. Otherwise, you can hit submit. You'll have a copy of the results emailed to yourself. Make sure you select your email here. Have a copy sent directly to your email. And then you'll be prompted to complete this class assessment form after the session activity. You'll complete this information for the class assessment form with your course number, who the actual professor was that actually gave you this this actual activity. It can be any one of us. It could be Mario Leyva. It can be our Gabriel Lopez. It could be any of our librarians. Just so long as you're selecting a selection in there. When was the session? Since you're doing this, you can actually put the day and time that you did it, so long as you're doing it before the 19th. Your classification, you select an undergraduate, and then you're going to basically provide information about how the session went in a sense of the video and in a sense of the activity. And then once you're done, you're going to go ahead and click the submit button. I don't have this information filled in here, but you're going to basically click the submit button and then you'll be finalized. And then you can exit out of the activity once you got that submission. I hope this information has been helpful to you students. If you do have any questions about how to go about this activity, please reach out to any of our librarians here. This activity has helped to give you some experience in building citations, and we're hoping that it can get you acquainted and feeling more comfortable with that process. Again, please reach out if you do have any questions, and this concludes this activity video. Thank you.